We are not done yet. Back with me, former Congressman David Jolly, Phillipe Reines, Tim Miller, and Jason Johnson. What haven't we hit from last night, Congressman?
I think Syria. There was a moment where all the candidates began to train their fire on Donald Trump because it resonated. There's this visceral anger about Donald Trump's depravity when it comes to the Syria matter. But in choosing to go that route, I think a lot of candidates missed what could have been a presidential moment. You saw Mayor Pete reach for it more than others, trying to demonstrate that he could lead the nation in a time in which we really don't know which direction to go. I think we're looking for a presidential moment from these candidates going forward.
Tim?
I thought Pete was great on Syria. I thought that what we haven't talked about is what they didn't talk about last night is China. China didn't come up. There's this big scandal right now around the NBA, and all of my friends in the Republican Senate caucus are all acting like it's LeBron James's fault for not standing up to China tough enough when the president isn't standing up to China. The president isn't standing up for Hong Kong protesters. The president's putting our economy at risk with this idiotic trade war. Nobody brought it up last night.
They did bring up packing the courts. We haven't heard that in previous debates.
No, I mean, Biden got asked, and he seemed to be very prepared and had a historical answer about how it doesn't work out. You pack one way, and then they unpack the other way.
Buttigieg, Beto, was it a knockout punch when they were talking guns?
I mean,
I don't need to get violent talking guns.
It's not a knockout punch because, you know, Beto isn't really competitive anymore. I mean, he was punching down. I'm surprised Pete Buttigieg didn't hurt his arm punching down so low. Here's the thing that I miss. What's the most important constituencies for anyone trying to win a primary? African-American voters. Mayor Pete didn't talk about his Douglas pan. Joe Biden didn't talk about voting rights. They didn't talk about the fact that infant mortality for African-Americans is in the top 10 in a state like Ohio. They didn't talk about voting rights. The only two people who talked about issues that would matter to African-American voters were Senator Harris and Julian Castro. For a party that is dependent on black voters, and in particular black women, they completely failed last night. And Elizabeth Warren just saying HBCUs twice is not enough.
That's a great point. I just think really quick on Beto, I have a conspiracy theory that he is taking this radical, he's taking this radical gun position because he was so tired of people telling him to run for Senate in Texas. He's like, I'm going to say the one thing that makes it impossible for me to run for Senate in Texas. And I think that's what's driving it.
But there was one thing that came up that no one bid on. You know, the moderators asked 3 times about Facebook and about Elizabeth Warren buying an ad, and none of them...
Trolling. So Elizabeth Warren...
So Elizabeth Warren bought an ad on Facebook with the express intent of Facebook taking it down to show that they are hypocritical, and they haven't. And it was a way to get into the topic of Facebook and big tech, and the moderators point blank asked about Facebook, and none of them answered. They immediately either shifted to antitrust and technology or to Amazon.
What does that tell you?
Twitter. Well, everyone very quickly in their head said Amazon is the bigger boogeyman in the Democratic primary, and the exchange that Tim mentioned about Kamala and Warren about Twitter was just kind of weird. But
it's odd to fight Facebook. And I literally have this conversation with some young Dems and some young Republicans, used to be students of mine in Ohio. The love for Facebook among sort of older, moderate voters is still there. Now, young people think it's all garbage. They're not even on Facebook.
Young people are dying for a breakup so they can actually love Instagram and feel good about it.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Pretty much. Like, they're on Instagram and they're on Snap. But, like, it's not an issue that resonates outside of the chattering class. Now, look, Warren has a list of enemies that lots of people dislike. It's Wall Street doesn't like her, and Facebook doesn't like her. But regular people, that's not moving them because they don't see Facebook as an enemy because they're not that concerned about Russia.
They were all anxious to beat up on Amazon.
Meanwhile,
I'm a Prime member, and I'll get home today.
I've never ordered anything off of Amazon in my entire life.
Sure.
He's going to have a Prime package when he gets home today.
Amazing.
Don't you want to know
They're
what's in
$100 billion company, but no one ever buys their packages.
All right, leave it there. Coming up, 2 former State Department officials arrive on Capitol Hill to testify, one expected and one